Penultimate speaker here. Among her many hats, she's the co-founder of Tourism Currents, and she doesn't need coffee to have a lot of energy. I think she's had some, so watch out, Sheila.
Thank you.
Good morning. Okay. What I do is I do training and consulting with tourism organizations, that is convention and visitors bureaus, CVBs, destination marketing organizations, hospitality folks, which means hotels and restaurants, which are of course highly dependent upon tourism traffic, and economic development people, downtown development people. That means you tend to pull in chambers of commerce and people who are looking at growing businesses in their town, and one arm of that is tourism. So it all ties back into the tourism thread. Last year, what I said is that tourism organizations were going to be jumping full force into social media, and I give myself an A- because in fact they have done that. Organizations both large and small have done so, and there are a large number of them that are very serious about it and very, very good at it. We are blessed here in Austin with one of the best ones, literally with a national reputation for being tech and social media savvy with the Austin CVB. In fact, Katie Cook is here in the room, so y'all go over and say thanks for representing Austin and our city, because they do a fabulous, responsive, wonderful job, and they have a terrific personality online which is matched offline. But I will also tell you that the people who have probably one of the better reputations in Texas for being very good at social media are Beaumont and Abilene. Bless you. Yeah, Beaumont and Abilene, you're going, yeah, right, okay. They rock it. They are very, very good with social media, huge personalities, super responsive, run entirely in-house with some butt-kicking women who are absolutely amazing, okay? Now, this means that you've got the level playing field that what everyone's talked about with the web, okay? You've got folks who their authentic voice can come out online and they can have a worldwide presence, even if they are from Beaumont, Texas, where I went to high school and the screen door couldn't hit my butt fast enough. On the way out of there, I can't tell you how it amazes me that Beaumont is now my poster child for social media excellence, but God love them, they are. They are. So, organizations have jumped in full force. There have been some events this year that I think have been very interesting. One is online, and that is Tourism Chat. Every other Thursday on Twitter, Tourism Chat, very action-packed, fun hour of people talking about tourism issues, and that was pulled together by some Convention and Visitor Bureau folks from Coos Bay, Oregon, St. Joseph, Missouri, a woman in Iowa, and another woman up near Chicago who used to work for the Chicago CVB. And they got together online and pulled this thing together, and invariably when people attend Tourism Chat, they say they get more out of that 1 hour than they get out of a lot of the tourism conferences that they attend offline, because the people who come to Tourism Chat are so far ahead of the rest of the industry. There was another event this year, the very first tourism track at Blog World and New Media Expo. Disclosure, my business partner and I at Tourism Currents organized and ran that track. Terrific turnout, a lot of people there from hospitality. We had MGM Grand in the room and some other people. We brought in the Pensacola CVB to speak, the Beaumont CVB, Seattle CVB, and Jeff Hurt, who's an expert in meetings and conventions. And if you didn't know it, meetings and conventions are a huge revenue source for conventions and visitors bureaus. Very, very important to them. So a tourism track at Blog World. Kind of weird, huh? Well, we weren't the only sort of industry thing starting a track there. There was a medical track at Blog World too. So you're starting to see this mainstreaming, this integration that I talked about back last year that I said would happen in 2010, and it certainly has begun to happen. Old school events are getting more nerdy, techy, social media-y, and nerd events are starting to get more mainstreamy. And of course, both sides say the other one's ruining it, but the heck with them. Another event that I thought was terrific was a brand new one called the Symposium for the Use of Social Media in Tourism. It was a smallish event held in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is just outside D.C., and it was a small event, but everybody there was incredibly social media savvy. So for the first time throughout the entire year, I was in a room with my tribe, come and tribe, because they understood tourism and they knew what the heck a Twitter hashtag was. I didn't have to explain Facebook to them. They could explain stuff on Facebook to me. So super smart, super savvy, all in one room, and it was a dynamite event in November, which I saw as the culmination of things like tourism chat and things like that, where I began to see the tech-savvy, social media-savvy tourism people getting together and saying, wow, a lot of these folks are the only ones in their town who get it. Okay? And so for the first time they were able to be in a room, look around and say, I'm not a nutball. You know, I'm right, and see that there were other towns, cities, and destinations and places who were doing a great job with this. So, SoMeT is the hashtag on Twitter if you want to go look for those folks. What this is resulting in is something that I blogged about that not just the tourism industry, but every industry needs to worry about, and that's brain drain. Every time I speak, I have someone come up to me afterwards, usually a young person, but not always, who says, oh, for God's sake, would you please go say all that to my boss? And what's happening is there are people who get this stuff, who are really, really good at this stuff, and they are sick and tired of working with and for those who don't. And when the economy gets better, they're bugging out of there as fast as their little feet can take them. And the savvy tourism organizations are going to be poaching from Dullsville like crazy. They're going to say, hey, Abilene, you're pretty sharp. You want to come up to big city? Can Abilene, they do support their current person, but can towns like that with one person who gets it hold on to that talent? Because social media is now a core competency for marketing, whether some marketing folks have figured that out yet or not. It's not a freako random bolt-on anymore. It's a core competency. And those who know how to rock it want to work with other people who have their head out of their butt. So, brain drain, not just in tourism, but in any industry. Also, let's address the role of agencies here. My agency, Bubba's, Erin, moi, I love you, and all that. Let's think about the role of agencies with social media, though. Okay? One of the things I say to clients is, why are you paying a lot of money to an organization to use a free tool to speak with your voice? Okay? Agencies have a lot to offer. They can do some amazing strategy stuff. They can work with organizations, particularly on integration, which is very important. But really, do you want an agency running your Facebook page? Okay? The most authentic voices come from within. And one reason that Abilene and Beaumont hustle is because the women who work at those CVBs have an entrepreneurial spirit, and they are out there hustling all the time for their town and for their region. They are not just one on a tick list of clients. Okay, I puked out for this client on Facebook today. Okay, I puked out on Twitter for that client today. Okay, I puked out a video for... No. Okay? The Abilene CVB is all about Abilene, Abilene, Abilene all the time. And so they have that kind of hustle that I think is missing. But also, free tool, authentic voice, don't outsource. Your direct visitor engagement is usually my advice. There are some exceptions to this. If you have a crisis, if there's a disaster, there are some other things, but think hard about what you're spending your money on, I tell folks in tourism, with regard to the agencies, and make sure if you are hiring them that you're using them for their best talents and not paying a whole bunch of money to them because you said you don't have time for social media. If you don't have time for direct visitor engagement online, what the hell do you have time for? Okay? All right, so I give myself an A- on CVBs jumping into, and tourism organizations jumping into social media. I did give myself a D for my prediction that augmented reality would start to become a big deal. It was just Sheila being a nerd. Nobody gives a rat's butt about augmented reality. It is, and I played with it some myself on several trips, and, you hold up your phone and there's 8 billion Starbucks everywhere and you can't see what the hell else there is. It's useless, okay? There is an AR element to Yelp, for example, Monocle, which a lot of people don't even realize. So you can kind of play with AR a little bit, but it's just a little bit too freak out right now. But I'll go absolutely with what Tim said, QR codes, and Beaumont in particular has taken a lot of the lead in Texas tourism on how they use QR codes. Tourism organizations are saying, whoa, QR codes allow me to take a flat one-dimensional surface, a piece of paper, a brochure, a rack card, or whatever, and connect people to the web through their phone with it. So tourism people have snapped right on to QR codes, and they are all over them. Lastly, 2011, I would say at this point that integration of social media into your regular marketing, rather than having it be some sort of extra thing you do, it is integrated into and across what you already do. But the important thing that everyone's going to be looking at is, in industry parlance, does it put napkins in laps and heads in beds? Because in tourism, that's where the money comes from. If you don't put napkins in laps and heads in beds and bodies in your town, all the chatter on Facebook all day long does not make a rat's patootie. That's all I have. Thank you.